news stories for you. Firstly, Geta Choreda has issued a warning to Ethiopian Air Force commanders and pilots. It's a threat from Tigray military command. What is this warning? Can it have any impact on the ongoing airstrikes from Ethiopian Air Force on Tigray? Secondly, three opposition parties of Tigray have issued a joint statement which they say is a peace proposal to resolve Tigray conflict. Eight demands have been made by these three opposition parties. Are these demands different from the demands made by Tigray's government a few weeks ago? One demand is different, viewers. This new demand is a bit surprising. We'll talk about that. Before that, people said in response to previous video, Sajid, you are overrating Oromo Liberation Army, a small group. It cannot have any impact on the ongoing war. Well, my position about OLA is very clear. I've been saying it's a small group. On its own, it cannot bring about a sea change in Oromia. But keeping in view the ongoing developments in Amhara region, OLA's role has become very crucial. TDF is trying to get close to those areas where there is presence of Oromos in Amhara region. And it's trying to get close to Amhara-Oromia border as well. If Oromo Liberation Army practically joins Tigray Defense Force on the ground, we could see Oromos, not entire Oromo community, but we could see some sections of Oromo community stand behind Oromo Liberation Army. Though there have been disputes and grievances between Oromos and TPLF regarding TPLF's rule of the past. But still, Oromo Liberation Army does not command the following of entire Oromia. But it has some following. And if on the ground, OLA and TDF managed to join hands, especially in Amhara, it could be a formidable alliance in Amhara. Why? Because we have seen fighting between Oromos and Amharas in North Shua zone of Amhara, in Oromia special zone of Amhara. So there are ethnic fissures between Oromos and Amharas in Amhara region. And if OLA gets into Amhara and TDF joins OLA, in Amhara, these ethnic fissures will be laid bare, and we could see an alliance which could pose a challenge for Amhara region. Secondly, viewers, the two news stories. Geta Choreda a few minutes ago tweeted, which is a statement. It's a warning from Tigray military command. It's a warning for Ethiopian Air Force commanders and pilots. He says, you are killing civilians, we will hunt you down. No matter where in the world you would be, we will hunt you down. A threat, an open threat in no uncertain terms. Unequivocally, Geta Choreda is telling Ethiopian Air Force officials to stop airstrikes on Tigray, otherwise they'll have to face consequences. We saw statements from Geta Choreda, Debrecen Gabriel Mikhail, calling upon ENDF soldiers to surrender. We did not hear from them such warnings. So we did not see Geta Choreda, other TPLF leaders threaten ENDF soldiers. But they are threatening Ethiopian Air Force, because definitely these airstrikes are hitting targets. Civilians are being killed too. Yesterday's airstrike led to civilian casualties. International media is also confirming that more than 10 persons were killed in yesterday's airstrikes. And obviously, TDF's military assets are also being hit. So that is why TPLF-led Tigray's government wants to put pressure upon Ethiopian Air Force pilots and commanders to stop them from being part of this war. But will they stop? I don't see them stop, because these military commanders, Air Force commanders, and Abiy's allies, they'll ditch him if they know that PM Abiy is about to fall. I think the stage has not arrived so far that people would say that he is about to fall. So far, no signs of PM Abiy's allies, Ethiopian National Defense Force, Ethiopian Air Force ditching him. But it's a warning that there might be some elements in Ethiopian Air Force, in Ethiopian National Defense Force, which might listen to this advice. Lastly, viewers, 3 opposition parties of Tigray have issued a joint statement. It's a peace proposal from these parties. The 3 parties are Salsivene, Betona, and Tigray Independence Party. The 3 parties have shared 8 points. They say if these 8 points are implemented, Tigray conflict would be resolved. And among the 8 points, the most important point is that the 3 parties want an internationally monitored referendum in Tigray. The other demands include withdrawal of all forces, lifting of blockade, investigations into war crimes, into damage caused to property, and internationally monitored mechanism to implement these points. But the most important point, which is different from Tigray government's demand about the solution to Tigray conflict, is this one, that these 3 parties want an internationally monitored referendum. Why? They do not trust TPLF, it means. If you remember, viewers, a few days ago, these 3 parties had issued a statement. They had called upon international community. The international community must consult the 3 opposition parties as well. Only TPLF is not Tigray. The 3 parties also represent Tigray. So 3 parties feel that they have been left out. They're not part of what's happening in Tigray and what's happening regarding solution to Tigray. So that is why they want an internationally monitored referendum. Will TPLF agree to this demand? I don't think so. TPLF will not agree to a demand that internationally monitored referendum should be held in Tigray to determine its future. TPLF will not agree. Let's see how TPLF responds to these 8 points. TPLF could agree to 7 points, but not the first one. The 3 parties have grievances against Tigray People Liberation Front, and they have been accusing the party of taking solo flight in Tigray, that these parties have been left out, they're not being consulted, they're not on the board. But most of demands are common. They're calling for withdrawal of all the forces, investigations into war crimes, internationally monitored mechanism to implement these 8 points. Will TPLF respond to this demand of 3 opposition parties that an internationally monitored referendum should be held in Tigray? That remains to be seen. Thank you for watching.